5 things locals wish they knew before moving here. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? Gigan here, your favorite real estate agent, and the biggest thing always circulating is home prices. While our median home prices right now hovers around $161,000, reflecting a 7.3% increase from last year, it's still crazy. And I keep saying that as much as possible, small town areas are the next big wave. Places like Buffalo, Syracuse, and Rochester, especially with the Micron project that's coming, are absolutely catapulting themselves to becoming, well, a place that everyone is going. With a median day range of just around 12, give or take right now, it really does reflect one simple thing, that homes are selling super duper fast. Rapid sales, combined with the fact that people are still overpaying, shows that people want to come here. So before you make that move, understand that everything is competitive. But the word competitive is kind of ubiquitous and really ironic when you think about it, because we're competitive because we're so cheap. If we were up more in price point, specifically like places like California, maybe Washington, or even Florida, it would make sense that we wouldn't be as competitive. So I think it's an irony that we're competitive because our home prices are so low. The second thing is the actual cost of living surrounding everything else. Utilities hover around 10% less in price point than nationwide. But the second thing is our groceries are about 3% more, meaning that even when you are coming here and everything else is cheaper, it's still just as expensive. And with everything else just going up in price point, from groceries to transportation to amusement and everything else in between, you just have to be careful because life as a whole is getting really expensive. So even before you make that move to Rochester, just understand that it's not as cheap as most people think. Number 3, and this one is a doozy. It's embracing the 4 seasons, because we have got it all. Today is November 25th. It's almost Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, but happy Thanksgiving. And today is pretty cold. In fact, today I had to wait like 7 minutes before I drove to my office to let my car dethaw or whatever the word is, which sucks. I think it's super annoying, but it's something I had to do. And that's kind of the issue with Rochester right now, is you're gonna get that. Anywhere from October to February, sometimes even March, there will be snow. There'll be a lot of snow, just understand that. But if you watch the video that I did a few days back about the weather in Rochester, we haven't had that this year, and we didn't really have that much of last year either. So speaking from a timeline perspective of what is going on in today's day and age, we really haven't had much snow, but historically we've had a lot of it. So obviously take all those things into factor. And I will say this, Canandaigua Lake during the springtime and the summertime is absolutely beautiful. Lake Ontario is gorgeous as well. We have really beautiful green lined streets, meaning there's trees everywhere, there's blossoms everywhere, and Lilac Festival, especially during May, is super pretty. I'm a fan. So if you're someone that enjoys the snow, you enjoy the warm weather, and you enjoy everything else in between, Rochester is the place for you. If you want something just one location based, one weather based, one everything, maybe check out Arizona. It's super hot there. Canada could be a good option for you too if you don't want something super cold. But these videos are so much fun to make, guys. I hope you enjoy them. But also the rain is pretty bad. Unfortunately, springtime is not the only time with rain. We have a lot of rain in the fall as well, and that combined with the coldness of fall, it sucks. It's like super cold and super rainy, and people get depressed all the time. SAD, or seasonal affective disorder, is a real thing, and we have that from October to just around February. Next is our thriving culture. Rochester is really cool because we have the Jazz Festival, we have the Lilac Festival, we have a ton of museums, a lot of art galleries and things like that as well. And it's not just these things that I'm talking about, we also have the Children's Museum of Play. Rochester has a lot of culture to it. And I say culture in a very loose tense because I'm giving this and that and this. Culture to me are experiences that people have had and experiences that people can have. And that's how I define it. And I think that's what makes culture such a unique thing. For me, culture is waking up on a Sunday morning to eat roti with my family because we wouldn't have that the other 6 days. For some of my friends, it's the feel of the hot iron comb on their hair as they get braided. For other friends, it's going to church every single Saturday and then having brunch at the exact same spot. That is culture. It's also enjoying art. It's also enjoying festivals and everything else in between. That is culture as well. And I think we have a microcosm of everything that people are looking for. And that's what makes it super unique. We have culture. Number 5 is people want you to move here, which is really surprising, right? Because a lot of these other places, they don't want you to move here. And they're like, oh, please don't come to our home. we'd want you here. We want you in Rochester. In fact, Rochester has a $19,000 grant for remote workers who relocate to the area. It's called the Greater Rock Remote Initiative Program. So it's super cool. Rochester has homes that are continuously being built, specifically in Henrietta, in Mendon, and also in Pittsford. You've got builders like Faber, you got builders like Ryan Homes, and all these other companies that are actively putting money into Rochester. And it makes sense because think about it like this. If you're using the exact same material, exact same structure, exact same art form as California, and you're building in Rochester, people will rather choose the cheaper cost of living. It just makes sense. If someone can't afford $1 million price point because of location, and they don't care where they're going, they're gonna look at cheap alternatives. And that's what makes Rochester so unique, is we are still technically a cheaper alternative compared to major other cities. So going into the cost factor, all these are gonna be important. I'm gonna give you two more that I think are super unique. Number one is we are a Bills Mafia. If you're not a Bills fan, you will get crushed. I got a buddy of mine that's a Browns fan, right? But he still lives here. I don't know why. No, I'm just kidding. But we're a Bills Mafia. Like, we are very much so. Let's drive every Saturday, 1.5 hours, get to Buffalo and watch the game. We have that connection. We have that sense of camaraderie with Buffalo. The last thing that I think makes Rochester super unique is the Micron Project. The Micron Project, which is happening in Syracuse, will affect Rochester home prices. Our proximity is there. Micron is building a massive data center there, which is a multi-billion-dollar project. And when we look at Rochester as a whole and look at what's happening here as well, we're seeing that companies are still making that move. For example, our healthcare sector is our best sector. University of Rochester, you got Regional, you got Unity, you got Highland, and then you've got Strong Hospital as well. All of those things play a factor together. And I think that's what makes it awesome. Our healthcare is continuously growing, but that's not all. It's combined with the education factor as well. Because we have, number one, we've got St. John Fisher College, we've got Nazareth, we've got Brockport, we've got University of Rochester, which is a big one, MCC, which is a top-ranked public school in the entire country, and we've got RIT. All of these colleges are going hand in hand and combining with each other with the workforce. For example, if you had watched the map tour video that I had done in Henrietta, I showed you a specific area that they're building hospitals near Jefferson. Those hospitals is a combined factor, combined project with Strong Hospital and with the University of Rochester. The University of Rochester is building that. They're bringing 200 doctors for that hospital. It combines, it works together. So if you're in education or you're in the medical field, you're gonna have a very good time. Now, I say that as a segue because the Micron Project will 1000% drive traffic here. People can afford to drive an hour to get to work. I don't understand why, but it will happen. And especially as Syracuse's home prices goes up and up and up, people will look at Rochester, especially if they're working remote. And those are 7 things that locals won't tell you. I know I said 5, but 7's fine. Rochester is unique. I like Rochester a lot. And if you're thinking about making that move to Rochester, here's 5 reasons why you shouldn't. Let me know.